He's involved in a number of businesses.
He's a great role model.
Telling it like it is, giving you both sides of the story. This is Cats at Night.
Great American, a great New Yorker.
Now, here's John Katsimatidis.
Of course, Larry is the world's leading economist, and he's served under the Trump administration. So, Larry, Jamie Dimon says, brace yourself for an economic hurricane caused by the government and the war. Do you agree?
I'm braced. I'm getting braced. I've been braced. Now I'm waiting for the cavalry to come.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
I knew how to trigger it.
I wish I could be more positive.
And at the same time, Elon Musk says he's scared that it might be a bad economy, so he may lay off some people. But you know, Elon, he says and does two different things sometimes.
He's a pretty smart guy. He's kind of my hero. Biden made fun of him today.
Biden made fun of him?
Yeah, he said good luck in the moon, yeah.
He said good luck on the moon, but here's the catch. Biden, of course, not the greatest memory. Biden's own NASA has just appointed SpaceX to be the moon lander. All right, so
that's right, Larry, because I'm sorry.
Biden's own people appointed him to go to the moon. So, sorry, Joe, didn't get that right. The other thing today, I just want to say, Biden says, okay, we want to be absolutely clear and honest with the public about the root causes of inflation. They're on this inflation forgiveness tour, right? And they're all feeling their pain. And Janet Yellen did one of these hostage video apologies on CNN. one of the worst things I've ever seen. But I mean, it's not me just like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. It's like, oh, I used to love America, now I hate America. Oh, I used to ignore inflation. Now I realize
so true.
I was completely wrong. So anyway, he's up there today after the jobs report, and he's saying how he wants to be really clear with the root causes of inflation, and then proceeds to blame Vladimir Putin. Okay, nothing about stopping the supply of oil and gas production or gasoline, nothing about the $2 trillion stimulus package, nothing about the $5 trillion Build Back Better package that he wanted. He said, we're going to be absolutely clear and transparent with the public about their absolute root cause of inflation, and then blames Vladimir Putin. I mean, really?
Has he gotten 17 Pinocchios yet from the Washington Post on that?
Well, we gave him a couple of Pinocchios ourselves on the show tonight, but that's kind of been my...
Well, I guess they can't keep blaming Trump, That's why they have to shift gears.
Yeah, Lydia, that's a very interesting point. You know what? That's a fascinating point. He's stopped blaming Trump for 10 minutes, and now he's blaming Vladimir Putin. But anyway, it's all nonsense, and his economic approval rating, according to the average of Real Clear Politics, is 35%. And this inflation forgiveness tour is not going to change because he's not changing his policies. And the op-ed piece he wrote in the Wall Street Journal actually called for more spending. All right. And again, he wants more Green New Deal tax credits and so forth. So they have miscommunicated. They're trying to atone for their sins, but we will not forgive them, and they haven't changed. So,
Larry, tell us about Yellen.
Well, Yellen, I mean, again, if you got to see this CNN thing. We played it every night this week on our show, the hostage video with Janet Yellen being interviewed.
It does look like a hostage video.
It is. I mean, you got to see it, and her eyes are bugging out. And
you want to see a guy with like a red and white handkerchief behind her.
Well, no, you basically think there's like an ISIS terrorist with a sword behind her, and she's making them apologize.
And they have her grandchildren.
So anyway, it's not good. But Yellen's had a rough week. Very heavily criticized by a lot of us, by the Wall Street Journal editorial page, among others. I mean, look, the jobs numbers today, I mean, that was a big event, were good numbers, okay? Over 300,000 private sector jobs, 333,000. But the continuous problem that the Bidens won't acknowledge is that while wages are going up, inflation's going up faster. So real wages are coming down. I mean, if you look at this thing, wages for production workers, production workers, they're up 6.5% in the last 12 months. That's a good number. God bless them. But the inflation rate is 8.3. So they're losing ground. And that is continuing. And that's kind of like the canary in the coal mine. It's giving you a warning about the future economy. I don't know if Elon Musk is right about his super bad economic premonitions, but I think you all have to be worried. And the other thing is worth noting is that this week the Fed started to run down its bond portfolio. So they're presumably stopped buying treasuries and mortgages. And when those bonds come due, when they get redeemed, they will not be replaced. It's going to be a longer process, but I think, that's going to be significant. So the stock market sold off today. Interestingly, John Katsimatidis, the stock market, it's down. The S&P 500 is down about 14% year to date. And if you consider all of the stuff that's going on with inflation and war and gasoline prices, a 14% correction isn't that bad. Now, if you tack on 10% inflation, it's a 24% correction. That makes it look worse. But at least in some sense, I mean, the market has been sloppy, but it has not crashed. And I sometimes wonder, either the market is underestimating the Fed tightening that's coming, which is a possibility because I think Wall Street's too sanguine about the Fed, or the market understands, as I do, that the cavalry's coming and better times are ahead.
Well, better times are ahead. Oh, there we go again.
Oh, no. Twice.
Say, Larry, I disagree with the raising of the interest rates. I think you were going to devastate this country by raising interest rates. You're going to wipe out the real estate market, and I think there's got to be pressure put on to expand the production of crude oil in North America, and that's the way we bring back inflation. So that's the only thing me and you would disagree on.
Well, I agree with you about the production. We need to produce more. But even as I've said, the trouble now is with the release of all the extra spending and money creation, the inflation is much greater than just the energy sector. That's the problem. So the solution, I hate to see the Fed tighten. I hate recessions. Working folks pay for recessions. But nonetheless, the trick was, that cat's been let out of the bag over a year ago.
Larry, what's the average person supposed to do to protect himself or herself?
Regarding what? Is that
this situation of runaway inflation? How do you protect yourself?
Hide.
Well,
just work. Work hard. I mean, take advantage of the great opportunities in this great country of ours.
The next time you decide to vote for Joe Biden,
that's right.
Don't do it. And you know what I said to a couple of my Republican friends?
Right.
I had one of your friends, Bob Stefanowski from Connecticut, in. I said, your motto should be, if you think Joe Biden has done a great job, then vote for my opponent.
Yeah. No,
Larry, we got to take a break, but thank you for coming on, and God bless you, and have a great weekend.
Go on, kids.
Take care.
Miranda, we got to get right to it. Hunter Biden's ex-wife. What a book. The details. I mean, talk to us about it. Are you surprised by any of it? I mean, when it comes to Hunter Biden, you're basically an expert.
Yes, look, I think Kathleen Biden is certainly a victim of the Biden family, and particularly of the marriage. I mean, she was married for 24 years to Hunter. They had 3 beautiful daughters, and then he ran off with his brother's widow and had an affair with her. But during the marriage, he was also cheating, and he obviously had a substance abuse problem. Now, the first extract of her book, which is due out next week, that first extract was in People magazine this week. And, there were some interesting tidbits in there, but I don't really expect her to blow the whistle on the Biden family. I mean, she already says that she doesn't know anything about the finances. You know, she and Hunter, she said, lived above their means, beyond their means, and she just left him to pay the bills. And the interesting things, though, she does say that, you know, she was very quick to go and legally change her name from Biden back to her maiden name of Buell, which shows you there's some hard feelings there. She said what a wrench it was to do that after 24 years of marriage. And, you know, she did like to be part of that sort of famous inner circle and the perks that went along with it. But the person who emerges from the laptop is a good person, Kathleen Biden. I mean, she was really hard done by and cheated on by her husband, and I would imagine that she is going to remain dignified and not spread the dirt. So if people are looking for dirt, they'll be disappointed. I think where her story will be more interesting is just how a woman manages to sort of spring back after having such a betrayal in her marriage, and then she gets hit with the double whammy. She was diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer just a few months after the divorce. I mean, look, that was hardly mentioned by Hunter at all in his laptop, and I've talked to people who were associated with him at the time. He really didn't mention it, and you know, this was a woman who he'd been married to for 24 years, and when she was undergoing chemotherapy in the summer of 2018, he was on that massive drug binge in California and spending as many of his ill-gotten millions from the Chinese as he could.
Miranda, it's Richard Weinberg. I want to ask you.
Did we lose her?
Miranda?
No, I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
I want to ask you 2 questions. What's your thoughts on the Sussman trial, and what are your thoughts on the Navarro indictment?
Oh, hi, Richard. Look, the Navarro indictment is just disgraceful. I mean, why on earth did they need to go and send the FBI out to Peter Navarro to just humiliate him and monster him? And, you know, as he and Steve Bannon and others continually say, there is no grounds for that.
They put him in handcuffs and on, what was it, leg irons?
Leg irons, yeah.
I mean, you know, is he a risk to anybody? Is he a risk of running away? This is a man who, you know, is a pillar of the community, and it's outrageous that they treated him like that. And, you know, they will get their comeuppance after November. But I'll just say that committee, there is a very good legal argument brought by Navarro and by Steve Bannon, created by Bob Costello, their lawyer, who is also Rudy Giuliani's lawyer, that says that committee is not properly legally constituted. It doesn't have a ranking member, minority member. This Liz Cheney is not that. I mean, she calls herself the vice chairwoman. They can't issue subpoenas unless they're legally constituted. So I think that's got a long way to run.
And you also have executive privilege.
Well, apart from executive privilege as well. And, you know, this is all a prelude to their primetime performance next week, where they hope that they can grab the attention of the American public before the midterms and flip the script back away from all of Biden's incompetences and inflation and everything you've just been talking to Larry Kudlow about, and back onto January 6th and calling Republicans white supremacists and domestic terrorists and gin up their base that way. I don't think it will work, but it's really malevolent, and I guess it's all they have. They're desperate. And as for the Sussman trial, look, you know, a DC jury, very difficult to get them to find him guilty. And I think the jury forewoman said it all when she came out and told the media after the not guilty verdict that the whole trial was a waste of her time. Why should they bother looking at, someone lying to the FBI as if that's no big deal? And that's the problem we have. We have two systems of justice, and Democrats don't seem to see anything wrong with locking up Republicans for minor issues or non-issues while they let their own side get off scot-free with really major wrongdoing.
And you had a judge who kept out the evidence.
Well, exactly.
We got some more breaking news. The Uvalde school's chief had no radio. at the Texas shooting.
He had no radio. I'm looking at the report myself. So Miranda, the Uvalde, Texas school massacre. According to a new report from Reuters, and the New York Post is reporting it as well now, that the cop in charge, he arrived to the scene without a police radio and immediately made the call to fall back rather than confront the gunman.
Oh my God!
That's
How many
so
kids
hard.
died?
So hard.
That's the tragic incompetence at the heart of this massacre, which should have been able to be averted. I mean, the gunman was outside for 12 minutes, firing on people and firing on the school. So, they could have locked the doors. I mean, so much was done wrong. But there were reports immediately after the shooting that the district police chief, Pete Arredondo, didn't have a radio. So therefore, he really didn't know what was going on. He treated this, instead of as an active shooter scenario, which it was, he treated it as something else, and it just goes against all the training that's been done by police across the country since about 2005, when they realised that you can't just put up a perimeter and close off the scene when there's an active shooter inside a school. You have to just rush in and disarm him and kill him, kill the shooter. So, I mean, just a tragic error there. And why on earth he didn't have his radio, I guess we'll find out in the future.
Wow.
Right. They're talking about a congressional hearing to try to find out more of the details in this. Well, thank you so much, Miranda Devine, and come back to Cats at Night anytime. I know you're a very busy person, so thank you so much for your time.
Love being with you. Thanks so much, everyone.
Thank you.